Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Coffee with Casey. We go over market conditions and market strategies. Today, we're going to talk about preparing the house. So this is a big deal, okay? When I go to a house and I start talking about pricing, there is a price that the house is valued at in dated condition. There is also a price that the house is updated or renovated, right? So there's always I would say a 20% swing in what a house could sell for. $2 million house could sell for 1.8, could sell for 2.2, right? But a customary value would be, let's say, $2 million. If the house is dated, it's going to take a lot of money to put it back in that condition. So you're only going to get 1.8, okay? So what I do when I go to a listing is I tell the seller, here's your range from top to bottom of what you can expect, okay, to get on that house. So I know the sellers are thinking here, but the condition is down here. If we want to get to here, we need to really do the proper type of investments in this house. Now, there's three real types of investments you can do to the house, right? There are cosmetic investments that we like to do, which is paint and hardware and lighting and things that really, the lipstick that goes on that makes it look like 224, okay? Then there's maintenance upgrades. Let's say you got a new refrigerator, new cooking, or you just did the roof. Those are called maintenance upgrades, right? They're valuable, but they're certainly not dollar for dollar. And they're not a capital improvement like a new kitchen or a new master bedroom bathroom. So those maintenance upgrades are about 25% is what your return on investment will be. So we don't do that either, right? We don't do capital improvements like kitchens and bathrooms because they only return 50% of the value. The cosmetic improvements return 5-10% of what we invest in the house. Okay, so there's 5 things you need to do in order to prepare your house. The first thing you need to do, and I know that it only happens 1 out of every 20 times, but the first thing you do to prepare your home for sale is you got to run your title insurance. You got to run your title policy. You've got to see, is there any liens on your property that were not released? When you bought your house, that seller had a loan on it. Was that released? Because if it wasn't released, we don't want to find out about it 2 days before settlement. Did you do some work on a house and then get in an argument with a contractor and he put a lien on your house, a mechanic's lien on your house? Is that going to show up? And is that going to be a dispute? So we need to run the title, make sure we have clear title before we go anywhere. The next step is the walkthrough. And the walkthrough is, what are we going to do to move us from 1.75 to $2 million? What can we do? Well, we're pretty much in customary conditions. And we know we're anchored somewhere in about 1.85, maybe 1.875. But if we just put in new fresh paint. Now let's start with some of these. I know you love the paint. 50, 60, 70-year-olds like a little yellow in the paint, right? 30 and 40s are going to buy your house. They don't like any yellow in the paint. Yellow is bad. It looks dingy and dull on the walls, and you've got to get that off. You got to swap out to the current colors. So paint, hardware, lighting fixtures, okay? This is the part of preparing your house, which is trying to upgrade, trying to spruce it up, trying to get some lipstick on this, trying to move that feel from customary up to updated, right? With just some paint, hardware, and lighting. Lighting, incredible discussion we had on our team the other day about the lighting you have in your house, right? You're either going to have a 2500 Kelvin light, which is soft light, that's going to look a little yellow, or you're going to have white lights, right? Those are daylight, or those are bright light. You're going to have daylight, those are about 3000 kelvins, okay? And then you're going to have daylight, which is the blue lights, and those are about 5000 kelvins, and that is really too bright for the eyes. They hurt the eyes. So if you look around your house, you could say, do I have yellow lights, white lights, or blue lights? Well, they all have to be white lights. They can't be dull. They can't be dingy. They need to be white. So just things like that of how you prepare the lighting in a house, how you have drums and cages over your dining room table as opposed to the chandeliers with the little heads on top, so that is the second part of how do we prepare our home for sale? What upgrades do we need to invest in this house in order to get to the top of the food chain? All right. The next thing you need to do is prepare your house. When we prepare a house, we are sticklers on pictures. Pictures are so critically important because everybody's going to see them on the internet. That's where your buyers are going to see your house. All of them are going to see your house on the internet. They're going to see those pictures. If they use the flash photography, which is what a lot of realtors use, those windows are blurred out. They're whited out. It looks cloudy, right? Very bad. If somebody goes in and I hate to say this, but even professional photographers are using flash photography, it just looks awful, right? You have to have great pictures. Great pictures are a thing called flambient photography, right? Not a lot of people do them. It's very expensive. But to have a room shot on a tripod with 5 different pictures, 2 of them with ambient light, 3 of them with flash, and then fusing them together, that's what makes the great pictures. So you have to use that technique in order to get the clear shot out those windows. When somebody's moving from Arlington to Vienna, they want to look out the window and see trees. They don't want to see apartment buildings. They want to see trees, right? So it's very important that the photography that's done is at a very high level. If you're dealing with an agent that does very few deals a year or may deal in homes that are 500 or 600,000, maybe that's too expensive a photography for those kind of houses because it's very expensive. So, we use that photography because our average sale may be $1.5 to $2 million in there. So you've got to have that kind of photography that's done. Now, if you have a house that has a lot of upgrades, that has a lot of stuff, that has had a considerable amount of money invested in it, you really need a custom website that makes the house look like a rock star, right? So we invested a ton of money to do templates where we can come in and make a house look like a rock star. All of the key components of the house, all the defining characteristics. What upgrades have we done? When's the roof been done? How much money did you spend? We want to brag about the money that we've spent on this house in the website. So step 4 is create a custom website. So we've already gone through clearing the title, doing our upgrades, which is the main focus that most people will focus on. But really the pictures are critical of what your finished product is. If you really do a great job and you take crummy pictures, it's not going to do you any good at all, right? So we've got everything prepared. The last thing that we need a home inspection. Don't say I don't want a home inspection because you're going to get one. Now, either the buyer can do it and the buyer's home inspector can tear you apart, or you can do it and have control of the inspection. All people really want to know is, does it have any one of the deal killer words in it? Is there any mold? Is there any moisture? Are there any fire hazards? In other words, they're going to pull the panel off. Somebody's going to pull that panel off. You got to make sure that everything is wired correctly in that house. You have to make sure in the attic you don't have wires or loose things that don't have a cap on them. You've got to know that stuff. So what we do is we do our home inspection up front. It's a 100-page report, but we really only want to prove it doesn't have mold, it doesn't have a crack in the foundation, it doesn't, nothing that's going to cause damage to the house, the roof's been checked, those main things. It's not going to burn down. We have no fire hazards, So the last thing we want to do is make sure that we have a home inspection on that house, because a seller's home inspector is a lot better than a buyer's home inspector. Buyer's home inspector's job is to, I know there's a harsh word, I'll use it anyways, more like extort money from sellers, right? Well, this roof, it's only got a year or 2 left on it. Well, the roofer says it's got 5-7 years on it. You're gonna need a new roof. Better budget that in this year. Really? A 5-year life roof is gonna have to do it right now. Okay. So This hot water heater at or past its useful life. It's in good working condition. At or past, you're going to need another one of those, going to need another one of these, going to need another one of those. I would say that the seller's going to have to pay $20,000 for these upgrades to get this done. So really, when you're dealing with a buyer's home inspector, they're going to say at or past its useful life. A seller's home inspector is going to say in good working condition, period. So if nothing else, when we do our home inspection up front, we have a defense to anything their inspector, if they do get one. Now, granted, we've sold, I think, probably at about 85 million in listings so far, and have had one home inspection. My name is Casey Samson. If you need me during the week, I'm at 703-508-2535, or my email, casey@caseysamson.com. We'll see you again next week. Bye now.